started working on this issue 19 years ago. And for 19 years, I have got every morning, without one exception, I have said a prayer to God to put me in a position where I could end the chronic disease epidemic. And on August 23rd of this year, God sent me Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, we got to talk about RFK Jr. Because, you know, Trump lived up to his promise, as expected. I expected him to do so, and he has done it. He has done it. Maha! Make America Healthy Again is officially, well, I guess technically not officially because Trump isn't in office and RFK Jr. hasn't begun his work quite yet, but he will, okay, beginning of next year. And I am super, super excited to, not only get this country back on track, obviously, with Trump and his entire cabinet, which, whoo, oh boy, his picks are absolutely phenomenal. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And I'm loving watching the media absolutely lose their minds. But I'm also excited to make America healthy again. Because I've seen so many stories, and I'm sure you guys have seen some of the same stories and heard some of the same stories of people who are like, yeah, man, I went to such and such country, and, I was eating some of the same foods that I eat here in America, but I felt totally different. Like I wasn't sleepy, like I wasn't, tired after I ate it. And I came back to America and I tried to eat the same thing, and it just wasn't the same. Like there's something different with the food. And there is. We could talk about a lot of the things that are banned in other countries that we continually eat on a daily basis, but other countries are like, we ain't eating that, which is just crazy to me. How in the world could, our health system, our healthcare system, well, I know why our healthcare system does it. We don't have a healthcare system, I should say. We have a sick care system. They want to keep us sick so they can profit off of us continuously. But it's just crazy to me that in America, we could be allowing foods and dyes and everything else into the American public's food system that are banned in other countries. Like, check out this clip.
Let's debate. But with artificial food dyes, they have shown all over the world that they can use colorants that come from fruit.
This is the Canadian version.
This is the brightness of the Canadian version, just for visibility. And this is the brightness of artificial food dyes. So, of course, Kellogg and other food companies will argue children prefer this over this, just as they would prefer cocaine over sugar. That doesn't make it okay.
But I think...
And that's facts. That's facts. And yeah, I don't put that in my kid's face at all. No. That's absolutely disgusting. Why in the world is that happening in America? I'll tell you why. All for the love of the dollar. And with RFK Jr., that's going to end. In mainstream media and the left are absolutely losing their minds. And I said this yesterday when I was talking about Matt Gaetz. The more the left loses their mind over a Trump pick, the more I know that Trump chose the right person. That's just a fact.
To steer clear of politics, but this really isn't about politics because this is somebody who has been, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has been pushing quackery, who has been pushing lies, who has been pushing conspiracy theories. You've been talking to experts in the health community, the medical community, preparing for him, RFK Jr., to be given some sort of role in health. What have they said to you?
Well, it's not often that the entire medical and public health community is going to be in lockstep on something, but they're pretty close on this in terms of their significant concerns, horror even. Somebody said to me today, I can't think of any single individual who'd be more damaging to public health than RFK. Keep in mind, I think if the reporting's correct and the job is the Secretary of Health and Human Services, that comprises the CDC. We just got through this pandemic, comprises the FDA, comprises the NIH. He's talked about wanting to basically strip funding for infectious diseases overall. Again, just coming out of this pandemic with concerns about other viruses and things out there. The challenge, I think, is that at the same time, there is this whole idea that we're not a very healthy country. We spend $4.5 trillion on healthcare, and we have some of the worst outcomes in the developed world. And our food supply and other things are partly to blame, things that he's talked about. So there's these kernels of agreement with regard to the medical establishment and the public health establishment in particular. But then there's these other things like Caitlin was just talking about that they're not alternative views, they are false views. People often say, well, these are alternative views. They're not. People say, well, look, I think maybe vaccines could be linked to autism. Fair enough. That was an issue that came up, and it was studied in these large studies, global studies involving hundreds of thousands of kids who were followed for over a decade to see if there was in fact a link. Some of the studies actually showed that you were more likely to have autism if you were not vaccinated. But the point being that issues are raised, issues are studied, and yet they still keep coming up. And I think that's one of the big concerns. That's a metaphor, I think, for other things that people are concerned about with him.
Dr. Sun.
Oh, man, don't you love it? Don't you love it? Yeah, no, we studied it. It's okay. It's okay. Just keep getting all the jabs. Just keep getting all the jabs, right? It always turns out that, the more jabs you get, the safer you are, right? The more we get to charge you for, extra of that good stuff, the sauce, right? The safer you are. It's never, maybe we should just, pull back on some of this stuff over here or stuff. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? How they're always adding stuff and never taking anything away. Just put more concoctions in your body. You'll be safer that way. It's never safer to pull back on certain things. Never, not at all. Interesting, very interesting. But carry on.
Sources tell NBC News that the president-elect, Donald Trump, is expected to pick Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Trump had previously promised RFK a, quote, big role after RFK abandoned his independent bid for president and endorsed Donald Trump. The New York Times describes him like this, as a, quote, environmental lawyer who has no medical or public health degrees and has promoted anti-vaccine conspiracies for years, end quote. Regarding the Food and Drug Administration, the agency that is responsible for the safety of our prescriptions, vaccines, cosmetics, our food, even veterinary medicine, an agency that would be under his purview, RFK has said that, quote, entire departments have to go. Let's bring into our breaking news coverage former Obama White House Policy Director, MSNBC medical contributor, Dr. Kavita Patel. Dr. Patel, your first reaction.
Oh, my God. I mean, those of us who have spent our lifetime, kind of decades working in and around in HHS, I'm not kidding, Nicole, my texts are flying off the chain, both Democrats and Republicans saying, this can't be real. Someone must have gotten this wrong. This can't be possible. And now the second underlying chain, if there's some silver linings, the second thought I had is he can't get confirmed, can he? But I'm just listening to you talk about the DNI and all these other roles that require some sort of White House or confirmation or some combination. And here we are. It is really hard to believe. There are career staff texting me saying this was just the push they needed to try to get out. They were already on the fence and worried. We're not just going to see this incredible kind of integration of ideology that has no science behind it. But Nicole, we're going to see probably the best of the best career staff leaving these agencies potentially hollow that he would oversee.
Good. I say good. The American people voted for a shakeup, and that is exactly what we're getting. And it's not just a shakeup at the top, but it's a shakeup all the way through. That from some of the top employees all the way down. The guys who have been there for many, many years and have been feeding us the same crap that we've always been eating while it's been banned in other countries, but they've been feeding it to us. Why in the world is there a discrepancy between the foods that we eat here in America versus the foods that Canada has? We're connected to each other. We aren't far away. I mean, Canada's literally like right above us. It's right there. But you saw the difference earlier in the difference in our cereals. Why in the world do we have all those dyes? And I showed you guys a YouTube short. Oh man, it was probably 2 years ago now. It's been a long time. But they showed the ingredients for the ketchup that we eat here in America versus the ketchup that they have in Canada. They're completely different. The ketchup in Canada has like 4 ingredients. 4 ingredients. The ketchup that we have here has like 20. Why? Like, what? But I'm supposed to be sad that all of these career people are leaving and RFK Jr. is taking over to like clean that up? No, I'm not sad at all. I'm not sad. I am so happy that this shakeup is happening. That this shakeup is going to, hey, and who knows? Maybe it has a detrimental effect. I'm willing to find out. Okay? I'm willing to find out. And I think most of America is willing to find out. That's what we voted for. We understood what RFK Jr. was all about. He had a whole slogan. He had merch going with Maha, make America healthy again. He always talked about it. So we all knew what we were in store for. But, it's funny how mainstream media always, tries to make us panic and to fearmonger us. It's absolutely insane. You know what? I want to show you guys this clip of Scott Jennings on CNN. And you guys know I've been loving Scott Jennings. He's been absolutely on point recently, and it's hilarious. And there's actually reports that some of the workers at CNN really do not like this guy. And it's not shocking, right? It's not shocking. I saw a report that they don't want Scott Jennings on there anymore. So that tells you a lot. They're just trying to really get rid of their own jobs. I mean, they're facing cuts at CNN, and now they're just doubling down, tripling down, and getting rid of one of the only guys who actually makes sense on CNN. Okay, suit yourself. Send Scott Jennings to Fox, I guess. Okay, see ya, CNN. You can go down the tubes. But anyway, Scott Jennings absolutely schools this guy on his hypocrisy, and it's absolutely hilarious. Check it out.
If we're being intellectually honest, there's really no good reason why Bobby Kennedy, RFK Jr., should be HHS secretary. An advisor, a confidant, somebody who talks to the president and advises, but there's no managerial experience in his resume. There's nothing that says he is qualified to do this job that is in charge of the health of all of us, all these different lanes. If he has views and has insights around food sources, around vaccines, then those should be given in advisory roles.
Why?
Because...
Well, what were the qualifications of the previous ones?
Well, I think it's important to always remember that you put yourself... Say that again?
What were the management qualifications? I mean, Xavier Becerra...
I'm not talking about the previous. I'm looking forward.
But you're calling into question whether he could...
Kind of convenient how he says that. Oh, I'm not talking about the previous. I don't want to talk about when Democrats appointed people who were unqualified for the position. I don't want to talk about Democrats. I want to talk about Trump. Because, RFK Jr. is unqualified. But I don't want to talk about when Democrats, clearly hired unqualified people. I'm just not going to talk about that. Kind of interesting how that works, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, man. Get him, Scott.
But you're calling into question whether he could actually do this job, and I think it's
absolutely. I think America is now, and I think
it's important to discuss it because Xavier Becerra was just a lawyer and a politician with no management experience.
So does two negatives, two wrongs make a right?
Sylvia Burwell was a Walmart lobbyist. Donna Shalala was a university person. Look,
RFK Jr. is a nut.
Okay, so that's different than what you just said. You just said he doesn't possess the requisite managerial experience, but then we get to the real issue here, which is you want to insult the man, which is your right to do because you opposed him in the election. But you, Doctor, are raising the issues that he has been raising, and I think they're appropriate questions to raise. I don't know whether he can be confirmed or not. The vaccine stuff at the table is obviously going to be the flashpoint of this hearing. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you one thing. This whole issue of the CDC and these public health agencies, look, public trust in the health regime in this country is as low as it's ever been.
But why?
It's because of COVID.
Right.
Because of school closures. Because of mask mandates. Because this country was... But let me just finish. Because this country was drugged through a bunch of condescending and heavy-handed mandates that all turned out to be garbage, and that's why it's low, and the questions are valid.
And RFK is the answer to all of that.
Yeah, but RFK helped promote the assault on the CDC that lowered the disinformation that led to more than a million deaths, Scott. More than 1 million deaths in the United States, higher than any other industrialized nation per capita. That's the result of failed policies, the demonization of the conspiracy theories.
Whose policies?
All right,
under the Trump administration.
John, let me let...
You see what I mean? You gotta love Scott, man, because he absolutely exposed their hypocrisy. I don't want to talk about when Democrats, hired some clearly unqualified people who had no business being in the position that they were in. I don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about Trump and RFK Jr. though. Let's talk about that. And I mean, it goes even further. I mean, we could talk about how Gates is out here pushing a bunch of health stuff as if he has some kind of credentials to do so, but they always back Bill Gates on whatever he's. As a matter of fact, I think I have a clip of it here when a guy says, "Listen to Bill Gates." Let me see.
Medical professional. Well, the answer is listen to Bill Gates. Bill's right around about a lot of things, and he's the steep learning curve in global health. And we're.
Well, the answer is listen to Bill Gates. When it comes to health, what? Huh? For what? Last time I checked, Bill Gates isn't a doctor. Okay. Why am I listening to him again? Exactly. See, it's cool if they do it, but it's a problem if we do it. It's an issue. RFK Jr. is extremely passionate about health. I mean, the guy, I don't know how old he is, but he's obviously an older gentleman. And I mean, have you guys seen how good of shape this guy is in? I want to pull it up because, I mean, RFK Jr., I mean, this guy is in extreme shape. And if you look at some of the people who are in charge of look at this. Look at this guy.
I'm not going to touch the bar until I see it stop.
Look at this guy. I'm gonna mute that music, but look at this guy. Come on now. Now, obviously, this isn't any serious weight right here. But still, I mean, just look at his body, Still has the pec muscles. Can still see some abs showing through there. Now, you compare that to a guy like Bill Gates. I mean, like...
Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, President. Let's go.
Come on now.
Let's go.
Come on now.
Let's go. Let's go. Who else? The Dothraki way. Let's go.
17, 18, 19.
Get it, Bobby.
Come on. 20. Come on now. Come on now. 21 pull-ups. How many people could you walk up to on the street and say, do 21 pull-ups? And they could actually do it. Come on now. Let's be real. Ain't a whole lot of people out there that's pulling up their body weight 21 times on that bar. But I should rather listen to Bill Gates. Oh, man. I actually saw, I'm not going to do that because that's kind of rude. If you look at some of the people who are currently running the show, yeah, I'd rather have RFK Jr. all day, every day, 7 days out of the week, and twice on Sunday. 1,000%. It's not even close. Not even a question. But, hey, like I said, when left-wing media panics, when Democrats panic, that means something good is happening on the Republican side of the political aisle. And RFK Jr. is definitely going to set things straight, I believe. So, yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Peace and love. I'm out.